Okay. Yeah. Matra swastra duhitrava navi vikashano bhaved balavan indriya gramo vidvamsam apikarshati. One should not allow oneself to sit on the same seat even with one's own mother, sister, or daughter, for the senses are so strong that even though one is very advanced in knowledge, he may be attracted by sex. Yeah.
Many times. It's here.
Yeah. This is the verse, yeah. Yeah. All right. So in the purport, Prabhupada says, even if you know the etiquette how to deal with the women, it does not free one from the attraction, sexual attraction. And then he says that even though one can be highly advanced, materially or spiritually, they can still be attracted by lusty desires. And therefore, one may argue, of course, Prabhupada says, generally one is not attracted to one's mother, but the possibility is there, he says. It could be the mother, it could be the sister, or even daughter. Just like in the example of Lord Brahma also, right? And nowadays it's terribly in many parts of the world, you never know what's happening. There's so much incest going on. So, yeah. And he gives the example of how to deal in such circumstances. And so he says, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very strict in dealing with women, especially after he took sannyas. So they can't come near him, they can't pay obeisance, they have to be very far and pay. Even Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was doing the same thing. So the whole thing is to be very careful. Both men and women shouldn't be too close. And then at the end, Prabhupada says, a brahmachari is forbidden even to see the wife of his spiritual master if she happens to be young, right? Then he'll be attracted. The wife of the spiritual master may sometimes take some service from the disciple of her husband, as she would from a son. But if the wife of the spiritual master is young, a brahmachari is forbidden to render service to her. It's all for, the whole idea is to protect one another. Right? Otherwise, it's a psychological problem and they will be attracted to each other and they cause big problems later on. Text 18.
One question is like, how do you deal with a regular ISKCON situation when some women, their husband or father, or they're headed, but they have something to talk to the management? How do you deal with that? What do you ask for?
Okay, when you have a situation where women want to come and talk, then you must make sure you have someone with you. Yeah, you can't deal. Nowadays is even more important, Even texting also messages, you never know what they will say. And they can say, oh, you called me and then you spoke. So therefore, you should be careful, managers also, because they will say you said something in meeting and you can't prove, and so better to have a third person there sitting and then discuss. And if they say, oh, I don't want to speak, and then you say, then you can't speak to me. Of course, you must have someone who's trustworthy. Yeah. If they don't like someone there, then you can say, who would you like to be the third person? Like that. So the whole thing you have to protect yourself. Otherwise, people don't really care.
Yeah, these days it's dangerous.
It's dangerous.
Especially in management role.
Yeah.
It's better to be with wife or somebody third.
Somebody should be there. Yeah. Okay. Text 18. Purnam Varsha Sahasram Me Vishayan Sevatos Asatrid Tatapi Chanu Savanam Krishna Teshu Pajayate. I have spent a full 1,000 years enjoying sense gratification. Yet my desire to enjoy such pleasure increases daily. So Yayati understands that this is not going to He's got a realization, strong realization, and therefore he's able to understand this. Continuing in this way is not going to help him. Text 19. Tasmadetam aham tyaktva brahmani adhyaya manasam nidvando nirahankaras charishyami mirgai saha. Therefore, I shall now give up all these desires and meditate upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, free from the dualities of mental concoction and free from false prestige. I shall wander in the forest with the animals. So, go to forest, vanaprastha means not just go there and do your own thing, it means to meditate. That's the whole idea. Meditate on who? Supreme Personality of God. And generally they go to the forest because there's no disturbance. And then you can give up the desires, material desires. And here Prabhupada says, give up lusty desires. And the way to do it is one should constantly meditate upon the Supreme Personality of God. If you don't do that, then you always be under the entrapment of the material nature. So you have to be very careful. If you're interested in wanting to stop this cycle of birth and death, you must go to the forest. For ISKCON devotees means go out on preaching. That's our forest, material forest. One must go to the forest. Panchosardvam vanam vrajet. That means when you're 50, you have to go to the forest. Okay. And Prabhupada says the best place to do is in Vrindavan. Of course, now you go to Vrindavan, there's too many buildings and too many people. Everyone is fighting for space, including the monkeys. You know, they all come and such a. But if you can go there and meditate upon Krishna, then you are very successful. You will be successful, actually. You can cultivate Krishna consciousness in Vrindavan. There are, as in Rupa Goswami mentions in Nectar of Devotion, there are 5 places that can revive your original consciousness nicely. It is the holy dham, the holy name, chanting nicely, doing deity worship, Vaishnava association, sadhu sangha, and then studying the Srimad Bhagavatam, like what we are trying to do here. Yeah. Right?
So it's preaching, then Harinam.
No.
No.
Living in holy dham,
Holy Dham.
chanting the holy name, doing deity worship, and then having Vaishnava association, sadhu sangha, and then studying the Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah. So in more or less, if you are living in a temple, you get all of this. Yeah. But if you can't, then you should make it happen in your own home. So if you do all these 5 activities, automatically you will remember Krishna. So therefore your meditation is on Krishna, and therefore you can give up the material desires. And similarly, Prabhupada says that so many temples in Vrindavan. So wherever you go, you're always seeing Krishna, Radha, that's all, right? Wherever you go, they have their Jai Shri Radhe, they paint everywhere. Yeah. And you cannot go there and pretend to be a devotee, because if you stay like that, then there will be bad reactions. There are many people there who are doing nonsense in Vrindavan. They build house, then you can see outside their house, big satellite dish. They are watching what God knows, right? In the dam itself. Then they are doing all sorts of nonsense also nowadays. Prabhupada said if they go there and do the same nonsense, then they are no better than the monkeys and the hogs and the dogs that are staying there. In fact, it is said that if you go to the holy dham and you live like that, you will die and become a dog or one of the animal, monkey in the holy dham. But the benefit is in the next life, you will go back to Godhead after you die. So if you go to the Dham and you still have all these material desires, then you better go back to the material outside of Dham. Otherwise, you're going to be uh, uh, the Lord is going to punish you. That's the bottom line. Huh?
But if you are there the entire day for your entire lifetime, then, I mean, in the afternoon, if you want to like, maybe look up in news or something, and then you have to use
Huh?
for that. I'm saying like, if you're there the entire day,
Yeah.
right, and then for the entire lifetime, so, so you're saying that not everything should be barred from viewing, on television?
Yeah. Why you want to see?
What do you do? I mean, like, sometimes you might want to
Why?
watch the news or something.
No, if you are if you go all the way now, Sangeeta, you're giving up Seattle. Why you want to know about what's happening?
It's
Yeah.
important to know the current affairs.
No, when you're in the Dham, you don't need to. But when you're here, I agree. You need to know what's happening in the world. But when you're seriously wanting to go back to God here, then just chant. You don't need to know anything is happening. Unless you have investment here and you're thinking about it, right? Then might as well come back here. Otherwise, Prabhupada says, you'll always be under the lusty desires, control of Maya, right? What you're doing is when you watch TV, you're taking association of material energy, actually. So, Maya Mirga, Prabhupada says, under the control of Maya, like that.
When we went to Vrindavan, one of Raghunath Maharaj, his name was Krishna Ketandru. I was remembering you. He gave us during the
Tour,
no, not tour really, but the
Parikrama.
parikrama. He was there with us all the time. He moved from Mumbai, and he was telling his whole day schedule, like how he gets up at 4:30, and then every day he's doing parikrama. All the parikrama.
Yeah.
Every day, yeah. If not, then there he'll do the temple from morning to evening.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you cannot think of Krishna when you're staying in Vrindavan, then you shouldn't stay there. You're not ready. Many devotees do that. They sell the property, they go buy a land, they build a house, and then I've seen it personally. 6 months they come back. Because they deal with it. It's not, unless you're really liberated, you can't stay there. And if you go there and thinking about all the material things, you just become disturbed. You'll disturb others also. Yeah. Text 20. Drishtam Shrutam Asad Budva Nanudyayen Na Sandishet Samsritim Chatma Nasham Cha Tatra Vidvansa Atmadrik. One who knows that material happiness, whether good or bad, in this life or in the next, on this planet or on the heavenly planets, is temporary and useless, and that an intelligent person should not try to enjoy or even think of such things, is a knower of the self. Such a self-realized person knows quite well that material happiness is the very cause of continued material existence and forgetfulness of one's own constitutional position. So your question is answered, actually. Yeah, it's like, what is that? You're actually taking the association of material energy. That's what you're doing. Although you're in the Dham, you're thinking of material things around the world, so you're actually only taking association of material. That's not the reason for going there. So he says, right, wherever you go, upper planet or this planet, or where everything is temporary and useless. Yeah. So you should not try to enjoy, even think of such things. But it's not easy, no? So therefore, intensity, you have to build the intensity slowly and begging for the mercy of the Lord. Otherwise, we will always be attached to the material energy, Yeah. Bhungte prakriti jan guna karanam guna sangasya sarasadyoni janmasu. So you are associating with the material energy, and therefore you will only take birth among the material living entities. Yeah. So one should be very careful. And then the Lord will have to come again, yada yada hi dharmasya, take but just to attract us. Then we get some attraction for the Lord, but then we continue to make the mistake of wanting to enjoy the material world, we suffer. Yeah. Mirtyu samsara vatmani. So one should be very careful. Text 21. Iti uktva nahuso jayam tadiyam purave vayaha Dattva swajarasam tasmat adade vigata spriha. Sukadeva Goswami said, after speaking in this way to his wife Devayani, King Yayati, who was now free from all material desires, called his youngest son Puru and returned Puru's youth in exchange for his own old age. So he's come to a very good realization and decided to not continue in this world in that way. This is called vairagya. It manifests in the heart when you are doing the devotional practice properly. It will manifest strongly. You will understand, I don't want this. Generally, those who are new and very enthusiastic, they go through this renunciation and so on. But after that, when they go back and have not very good association, then they go further away, So we should be very careful. Once you get the enthusiasm, you should take care of it very carefully. Otherwise, others will say so many things and then you give up the renunciation. Yeah. Text 22. Dishi dakshina purvasyam druyam dakshinato yadum pratichyam turvasum chakra udicham manum ishvaram. King Yayati gave the southeast to his son Druyu, the south to his son Yadu, the west to his son Turvasu, and the north to his son Anu. In this way, he divided the kingdom. It is said that those who did not help him, Turvasu and Druyu and all, Turvasu became like a Turkish people. Yeah, and like the Malaychas and so on. Text 23.
What about Yadu?
Yadu dynasty is okay. Yeah.
No, but he's, it's mentioned about other sons, right?
Yeah, but the Yadu they got land, but they are not the kings. The main king is Puru. Text 23. Bhumandalasya sarvasya Purum arhattam visham hattam visham avishityagrajam stasya vase stapya vanam yayau. Yayati enthroned his youngest son Puru as the emperor of the entire world. Okay? So that's the whole thing. The others were just king of lands. He's the emperor of the whole world. And the proprietor of all his riches, and he placed all the other sons who were older than Puru under Puru's control. Text 24. Asevitam varsha pugan sadvargam vishayeshu saha shanena mumuche nidam jata paksha iva dvijaha. Having enjoyed sense gratification for many, many years, O King Parikshit, Yayati was accustomed to it, but he gave it up entirely in a moment, just as a bird flies away from the nest as soon as its wings have grown. Who was the other king who did like this? Maharaj Kadvanga. Yeah. Last moment. So in the moment he gave it up. So similarly, Yayati also had similar renunciation. Immediately, in a moment, he gave up everything. And so the Sukadeva Goswami is giving an analogy of how a bird, as soon as it can fly, it'll just fly away from the nest. So long as it's in the nest, it gives the mother and father hell, I want this, I want more food, more. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, a tiny baby bird dependent fully on his father and mother, even to eat, suddenly flies away from the nest when its wings have grown. Similarly, one fully surrenders to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one is immediately liberated from the bondage of conditioned life as promised by the Lord Himself. And this is Sarva Papepya Mokshasya Vasucha. So, yeah. And so towards the end, Prabhupada says Maharaj Yayati was eager to serve Vasudeva Krishna. And therefore, as soon as he wanted to renounce material life, Lord Vasudeva helped him. We must therefore be very sincere in surrendering ourselves onto the lotus feet of the Lord. Then we can immediately be liberated from all the bondage of conditioned life. This is clearly expressed in the next verse. Text 25. Satatra nirmukta samasta sangha atmanubhutya viduta trilingaha paremale brahmani vasudeve lebe gatim bhagavatim pratitaha. Because King Yayati completely surrendered onto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, he was freed from all contamination of the material modes of nature. Because of his self-realization, he was able to fix his mind upon the transcendence, Parabrahman Vasudeva, and thus he ultimately achieved the position of an associate of the Lord. So although his life story may not be palatable, but he went on to become an associate of the Lord. So basically he became free from contamination of material modes of nature. Viduta. Everyone in this material world, Prabhupada says, is contaminated. And yes, he explains Karanam Gunasangasya. We all want to associate with the material nature to enjoy something. But then instead of getting free from it, we are entangled, chained, and so on. Yeah, then you want to mute all, no? Okay. Yeah. So basically, we want to come to the platform of Sudasa, beyond the three modes. Nishtray Gunabhava Arjuna, rise above the three modes. Meaning, do what Krishna wants, don't do what you want. You may not like what I'm asking you, but it's better for you to do what I want. Basically, what Krishna's point is. So we need to perform the activities that are given to us by the Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, so that we become cleansed of the contaminations that we have accumulated over many, many lifetimes. Many lifetimes. We can see, right, in our own things, sometimes we are hankering for something, some material things, we can't give up, we wonder why. So we can understand those may be coming from previous lifetime, contamination, offenses, all these are holding us like chains. So if we are serious, we are sincere, then Surit Satam, Vidunoti Surit Satam, you are truthful devotee. And then the Lord who is in the heart, the Paramatma, he will cleanse that material desire. But how do you do it? It says the trick is one should have a serious desire to hear the messages of the Lord. Punya Shravana Kirtan. Yeah, you must have that serious desire to hear about Krishna. Okay. As soon as one is freed from all the dirty things of material contamination, Prabhupada writes in the last sentence, as Maharaj Yayati was, one's original position as an associate of the Lord is revealed. This is called Swarupa Siddhi, or personal perfection. Yeah. So this is very just to hear that Yayati was successful is very encouraging for all of us, because we are also lusty and foolish. So then he's showing us it can be done. Yeah. If you follow it nicely, you will be successful. That's the bottom line. It's doable. Right? You can't keep complaining, oh, we have this, we have that problem. But reality is proven that's possible. So what about his wife? Text 26. Shrutva gatam devayani mene prastobam atmanaha stri pumsho sneha vaiklavya parihasam iveritam. When Devayani heard Maharaj Yayati's story of the he-goat and she-goat, she understood that this story, which was presented as if a funny joke for entertainment between husband and wife, was intended to awaken her to her constitutional position. Yeah. So in this case, the wife was supportive. She also understand. When the wife is not supportive, then many times, like Srila Prabhupada, he left the home. He didn't want to have anything to do with that. So there are many cases like this. Ramanujacharya also, when his wife was not respectful to the Vaishnava guru, and he said, your father needs you for your sister's wedding, you please go. When she went, he took sannyas and left. Yeah. So when you become truly focused in your Krishna consciousness, you will know that you're not the body anymore. You will accept the fact that you're a servant. Truly accept. That means every activity you do is from the point of a servant of Krishna. Okay, you're thinking like that. How my activities will please Krishna. You're not thinking any other way. But if it's not, if you're not doing it, then you won't think. You're only thinking from a position of your material situation. So you can see it's not so easy on the one hand, but at the same time, you can see from Maharaj Yayati's position that it is doable. And so if you trace back, you can see that although he was enjoying for 1,000 years, he was also very serious about his duty, and he was worshipping the Lord properly. He wasn't, cheating or anything like that. He wasn't doing anything against the principles of governance. He was very kind to his people, and all those qualities he showed. So ultimately, at this point in his life, the Lord was very kind to him and blessed him. He said, you're okay, you've done, and I'm willing to take you back. Yeah. Right? It is not that I've done 40 years and therefore I should be going back to Godhead. It's not like that, because it's causeless mercy. It's up to the Lord. Going back to Godhead is his decision, not our choice. But our choice should always be, I want to go and serve eternally. So therefore Prabhupada says that is the real, or that is called liberation. Mukti hitvan yata rupam swarupene vyavastitihi. This is in the second canto. You understand your position, that you are the servant. Because normally we are under the influence of the material energy. So therefore you don't think you are the servant. Yeah. Anyway, in this country, if anyone says I'm a servant, then it's a negative connotation already. They don't believe in that. Such is the situation. Because of the powerful material energy, Devi Yeshu Gunamai, one is Ahankara Vimuddatma Kartamiti Manyate. He's thinking, I am the doer. I'm the master of everything. Like that. Like this. But you can see here, Maharaj, not only did he deliver himself, he also delivered Devayani. So Prabhupada says, Maharaj Yayati had delivered Devayani from the well, and finally, as a dutiful husband, he instructed her with the story about the he-goat and she-goat, and thus delivered her from the misconception of material happiness. Devayani was quite competent to understand her liberated husband. See, now he's already liberated. He's not a nonsense person, not a lusty husband anymore. And therefore, she decided to follow him as his faithful wife. And so we also should plan our lives. And one day you can also talk about the he goat and she goat to your spouses, and then go to the forest. Text 27, 28. Sa sannivasam suridam prapayam eva gacchatam vijñāyeshvara tantranam maya virachitam prabhu sarvatra sangam utsrijya swapna pamyena bhargavi krishne mana samaveshya vyaduno lingam atmanaha. Thereafter, Devayani, the daughter of Sukra Acharya, understood that the materialistic association of husband, friends, and relatives is like the association in a hotel full of tourists or in a cruise ship. The relationships of society, friendship, and love are created by the Maya of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, exactly as in a dream, right? When you wake up, it's gone. By the grace of Krishna, Devayani gave up her imaginary position in the material world, completely fixing her mind upon Krishna. She achieved liberation from the gross and subtle bodies. So here in the verse, it's a Krishna Manaha Samaveshya. So she's meditating on Lord Krishna. Yeah.
Krishna didn't come at first yet, right?
Not yet.
She's thinking about Krishna.
Yeah.
And Prabhupada also didn't comment about Krishna yet.
No, but it's in there. Where's
Vasudeva, but this is the first time Krishna's name is
name is there. In the Sukadeva Goswami is just saying it. Krishna Manaha Samaveshya. So his name is mentioned in the verse itself. So on to Lord Krishna. So as to what Krishna, whether he's Vasudev, yeah, he's Vasudev Krishna, not Vrindavan Krishna. But still, she's a very exalted lady. All glories to her. And it's interesting, once she could get the mercy of the Lord, she gave up her imaginary position. Just like you in the previous verse, or in this verse, it says, you give up just like you wake up from your dream. Yeah. And then completely fixing her mind, she could go back to Godhead. Yeah. So basically, in the Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada says, by the grace of Krishna, Devayani attained this state through the instructions of her husband, which is all our business. That's what we are meant to do. Text 29. Namastubhyam Bhagavate Vasudevaya Vedase Sarvabhuta Divasaya Shantaya Brihate Namaha. O Lord Vasudeva, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, you are the creator of the entire cosmic manifestation. You live as the Supersoul in everyone's heart and are smaller than the smallest. Yet you are greater than the greatest and are all-pervading. You appear completely silent, having nothing to do, but this is due to your all-pervading nature and your fullness in all opulences. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto you.
Another prayer.
It's a prayer that you can offer to the deities also. Right? So this whole chapter is about how Yayati came to a point in his life where he understood the futility of simply enjoying his senses and he turned around and realizing this is not what he wants anymore. Immediately he realizes the goal is to go back. So you can see if you have a good culture, you can fall back on that. If you have no culture, then it's very difficult what to do. And so once we cultivate this knowledge, we become cultured men and women, and we know what to do. We want to go back to Godhead. Yeah. Okay. So yeah.
Also likes Krishna.
Yeah.
The word is there.
And here Prabhupada says, coming to this point of surrendering, he quotes the verse, Bhavanam Janmanam Ante Jnanamam Mam Prabhadyanti Vasudevam Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabha. So that's the important. You take so many births, and now you are here as devotees. You have the opportunity to surrender completely. That's what we should be doing. Okay. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 9th canto, 19th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam entitled King Yayati Achieves Liberation. Chapter 20, the Dynasty of Puru.
Question. This one is 27, 28 and 27 is showing the liberate they got liberated from the gross body and subtle body, right? So the which body you have to take the
Subtle body and the soul.
and the soul following with the
Yeah.
subtle body.
Well, it's there together.
They are together.
They are in a subtle body. Yeah. Why?
No, just asking.
Okay.
Yeah,
Otherwise, how you can feel pain? Text 1. Sri Badarayanir Uvacha Pururvamsham Pravakshyami Yatra Jatosi Bharata Yatra Rajarishayo Vansya Brahma Vangshyascha Jajnire. Sukadeva Goswami said, "O Maharaj Parikshit, descendant of Maharaj Bharata, I shall now describe the dynasty of Kuru, in which you were born, in which many saintly kings appeared, and from which many dynasties of Brahmanas began." So it's a very glorious dynasty. And so he's now glorifying Parikshit Maharaj. You are glorious. You shouldn't feel any fear, because you come from an exalted family.
Wow.
Yes, it is. Wow. Yeah.
He comments in the right time.
Yeah. Text 2. Janame jayo hi abutpuruhu prachinvam statutastataha pravirota manusyurvai tasmacharu pado bhavat. King Janamejaya was born of this dynasty of Puru. Janamejaya's son was Prachinvan, and his son was Pravira. Thereafter, Pravira's son was Manusyu, and from Manusyu came the son named Charupada. X3. Tasya Sudyur Abhutputras Tasmad Bahugavastata Samyati Stasyaham Yati Raudrasvastat Sutasmitaha. The son of Charupada was Sudyu, and the son of Sudyu was Bahugava. Bahugava's son was Samyati. From Samyati came a son named Ahamyati, from whom Raudrasva was born. Text 4 and 5. Riteyustasya kaksheyuhu Standileyu kriteyukaha Jaleyu Sannete Yusya Dharma Satya Vrate Yavaha Dasaite Apsarasa Putra Vaniyu Chavama Smritaha Krithacham Indriyaniva Mukyasya Jagad Atmanaha. Raudrasva had 10 sons named Riteyu, Kakseyu, Standileyu, Kriteyuka, Jaleyu, Sannateyu, Dharmeyu, Satyeyu, Vrateyu, and Vaneyu. You. All of you. Of these 10 sons, Vaneyu was the youngest. As the 10 senses, which are products of the universal life, act under the control of life, these 10 sons of Raudrasva acted under Raudrasva's full control. All of them were born of the Apsara named Gritachi. Text 6. Riteyorantinavo bud Trayastashyatmaja nirpa Sumati dhruvo pratirataha Kanvo pratiratatmajaha. Riteyu had a son named Rantinava, who had 3 sons named Sumati, Dhruva, and Apratirata. Apratirata had only 1 son, whose name was Kanva. Text 7. Pasyamedatitis tasma praskannadya dvijatayaha putro bul sumate rebir dusmantas tatsuto mataha. The son of Kanva was Medatiti, whose sons, all Brahmanas, were headed by Praskanna. The son of Rantinava, named Sumati, had a son named Revi. Maharaj Dusmanta is well known as the son of Revi. Text 8 to 9. Dusmanto mirgayam yataha kanvashrama padam gataha tatrashinam swaprabhaya mandayanti ramam iva vilokya sadyo mumuhe devamayam ivastriyam babasetam vararoham bhatei kativayi vritaha. Once when King Dusmanta went to the forest to hunt and was very much fatigued, he approached the residence of Kanva Muni. There he saw a most beautiful woman who looked exactly like the goddess of fortune and who sat there illuminating the entire ashrama by her effulgence. The king was naturally attracted by her beauty, and therefore he approached her, accompanied by some of his soldiers, and spoke to her. Text 10. Taddarshana pramuditaha sannivritta parishramaha paprachakama santaptaha prahasans lakshnaya gira. Seeing the beautiful woman, the king was very much enlivened, and the fatigue of his hunting excursion was relieved. He was, of course, very much attracted because of lusty desires, and thus inquired from her as follows in a joking mood. It's very common, young people, you see, that's what they do. Text 11. Katvam kamala patrakshi kasyasi hridayan game kinsit chikishitam tatra bhagatya nirjane vane. Oh, beautiful lotus-eyed woman, who are you? Whose daughter are you? What purpose do you have in this solitary forest? Why are you staying here? Text 12. Vyaktam Rajanya Tanayam Vetmi Aham Tvam Sumadhyame Nahi Cheta Pauravanam Adharme Ramate Kvachi. Oh, most beautiful one, it appears to my mind that you must be the daughter of a Kshatriya. Because I belong to the Puru dynasty, my mind never endeavors to enjoy anything irreligiously. This is Shakuntala and he wants to marry her. Text 13. Shri Shakuntala Vacha Vishwamitratmajaivaham Tyakta Menakaya Vane Veda Tat Bhagavan Kanvo Virakim Karavamate. Shakuntala said, I am the daughter of Vishwamitra. My mother Menaka left me in the forest. O hero, the most powerful saint Kanva Muni knows all about this. Now let me know how may I serve you. So she wanted to, he's a guest king, so she said how I can serve. Text 14. Asyatam hi aravindaksha Viyatam arhanam chanaha Bhujyatam Shanti Nivara Usayatam Yadi Rochate. O king with eyes like the petals of a lotus, kindly come sit down and accept whatever reception we can offer. We have a supply of Nivara, rice that you may kindly take, and if you so desire, stay here without hesitation. Text 15. Shri Dusmanta Uvacha Upapannam Idam Subru Jataya Kusikhan Vaye Swayam Hi Vrinate Rajnam Kanyaka Sadrisham Varam. King Dusmanta replied, O Shakuntala, with beautiful eyebrows, you have taken your birth in the family of the great saint Vishwamitra, and your reception is quite worthy of your family. Aside from this, the daughters of a king generally select their own husbands. He just wants to marry her. Prabhupada also talks about how even Sita Devi also has a Swayamvara where after Lord Ramachandra broke the bow and she garlands him and accepts that. So he says that there's 8 types of marriages and one of them is Gandharva, which is pretty much common nowadays, right? Yeah, it is. Everyone, you like me, I like you, then they marry or, take place like that. There is the kidnapping, and there's the Rakshasa, Brahmin, what else? There's 8 different, it's there, I've read it somewhere. I can't remember all of them. Yeah. And then the normal marriage, yeah. Generally, yeah.
So the last line, aside from this, the daughters of a king generally select their own husband. Now, Vishwamitra was not the king, right? He was the Brahmana in the Ramayana.
He was a king previously.
Yes, he was king.
He was?
He was a king.
Yeah.
And then he became. Anyway, he didn't select anyone. The heavenly damsel Menaka came and selected him.
Yeah, the reason what I'm trying to say is, what is the purpose of this line? The daughters of a king generally select their own husband, but now if it is the Vishwamitra, then it makes sense.
In that case, but it's not like that. Generally, that's what the daughters of king do. The fathers will organize some kind of contest called Swayamvara, and they come and compete, and then she selects who she wants to marry. Yeah. So that's how it is. And of course, if the other kings are not happy, they'll fight, and whoever wins will carry her away. Right. Prabhupada says generally the parents select the husband or wife or the daughter or son, but Gandharva marriage takes place by personal selection. Okay. Still, although a marriage by personal selection agreement took place in the past, we find no such thing as divorce by disagreement. so, so there's no such thing. Once you marry, that's it. You cannot divorce. Of course, divorce by disagreement took place among low-class men, but marriage by agreement was found even in the very highest classes, especially in royal Kshatriya families. Maharaj Dusmanta's acceptance of Shakuntala as his wife was sanctioned by Vedic culture. Okay, how it takes place is next verse, text 16.
Yeah, exactly.
Dusmanta.
Maybe same.
Dushyanta and same.
Same.
Like Praharada and Prahlad.
It's the same.
Bhagavatam is Praharada.
Om iti ukte yata dharmam upayeme shakuntalam gandharva vidina raja deshakala vidanavid. When Shakuntala responded to Maharaja's Dusmanta's proposal with silence, the agreement was complete. Then the king, who knew the laws of marriage, immediately married her by chanting the Vedic Pranava Omkara, in accordance with the marriage ceremony as performed among the Gandharvas. So he knew, huh? He knew everything. He didn't do anything wrong. So he signed the contract by chanting the Pranava mantra. Right? Normally, if you want to do something, make a vow, they make you do Achaman and say Om and then do it, right?
Om Tat Sat.
Well, Om Tat Sat means the Lord is
Yeah, present. Yeah.
present, yeah. So basically, as you mentioned, religious principles are meant to invoke the blessings and mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, who says in the Bhagavad Gita that he's personally present in sexual desires that are not contrary to religious principles. The word vidina means according to religious principles. So Srila Prabhupada wants everyone to understand that this is not just any Tom, Dick and Harry go out and pick a woman or man and marry. They're doing it religiously. That's his point. And we also have to appreciate that this is also sanctioned according to the Vedas. Okay. Text 17. Amogha Viryo Raja Rishi Mahishyam Viryam Madade Swabhute Swapuram Yataha Kale Nasuta Sasutam. King Dusmanta, who never discharged semen without a result, placed his semen at night in the womb of his queen Shakuntala, and in the morning he returned to his palace. Thereafter, in due course of time, Shakuntala gave birth to a son.
Why did he not take her with him?
We have to ask him. Text 18. Kanva Kumarasya Vane Chakre Samuchita Kriyaha Badva Mrigendram Tarasa Kridati Sma Sabalakaha. Sukadeva Goswami is just giving a summary of the pastime. There's a reason why the king didn't bring her. There's in the Puranas and Mahabharata, you can read it. Translation. In the forest, Kanva Muni performed all the ritualistic ceremonies concerning the newborn child. Later, the boy became so powerful that he would capture a lion and play with it. Text 19. Tam duratnyaya vikrantam adaya pramadottama harir angshangsha sambhutam Bharturantikam Agamad. Shakuntala, the best of beautiful women, along with her son, whose strength was insurmountable and who was a partial expansion of the Supreme God, approached her husband Dushmanta. Text 20. Yadana Jagrihe Raja Varya Putra Vaninditau Shinvatam Sarvabhutanam Kevak Ahasaririni. When the king refused to accept his wife and son, who were both irreproachable, an unembodied voice spoke from the sky as an omen and was heard by everyone present. This is important. He knew she's his wife, but he didn't just want to take her. But then the voice came from the heaven to say that she is his wife and he is the son. Yeah. So then the king would accept.
I think she was cursed, and Shakuntala Devi. I think Dushman probably left saying that I'll come back and get you later and let me make arrangements for your stay. I now remember the story.
There are many versions.
Um,
Many versions of story. There's another version where Dusmanta was made to forget.
She was
And he
made to forget.
forgets. Huh?
No. So some sage came and when she was like completely meditating upon this thing. So he said that, okay, you never heard me. And so whoever it is that you're thinking of, you will forget.
Forget that person.
That person will forget you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's a curse. So yeah. So anyway, now we'll continue. Text 21. Mata Bastra Pitu Putro Yena Jata Sa Eva Saha Bharasva Putram Dusmanta Mava Mamsta Shakuntalam. The voice said, "Oh Maharaja Dusmanta, a son actually belongs to his father, whereas the mother is only a container, like the skin of a bellows. According to Vedic injunctions, the father is born as the son, therefore maintain your own son and do not insult Shakuntala." So it could be the demigods or it could be the Lord himself is telling him, you better maintain your son, meaning she is the wife also. So Prabhupada says, the mother is simply like a storekeeper because the seed of the child is placed in the womb, but it is the father who's responsible for maintaining the son. Of course, now in Kali Yuga, everything is upside down. The women are always left with the child to take care and maintain them and make them into good citizens. Aham bija pradapitaha. In reality, all of us are the sons of God, in a sense. We are part and parcel. Mamai Vangsha Jiva Loka, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. So we are all part and parcel of Krishna. And therefore, ultimately, he is the one who's maintaining us. Although in our karma, in our life that we take birth, he allows us to be responsible for this jiva or that jiva, and we think we are maintaining. But in reality, he is the ultimate maintainer. Eko bahunam yo vidatiti kamam. So it's a very important verse, that one. Yeah. The Lord is kind. He will not maintain anyone in this universe. He maintains everyone. Therefore, he provides all kinds of food for all kinds of living entity. So we cannot say that some people are suffering, some are not, some don't have food, and some. Actually, the Lord is giving food to every living entity. But according to our actions and reactions, we are not able to access food sometimes, and we seem to be suffering. Yeah, because of our action. The Lord is not providing. So we cross some rules or laws within this universe, we break those rules, then the material nature comes very harshly on us. Yeah.
No, sometimes have access and still something.
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes you can eat so much, but you have sickness. You can't eat anything, right? You can see people, so they get some kind of disease where cannot eat. You have to put a pipe in the neck and put some stuff, gooey stuff inside, and that's how they live. No stomach. Some people, the stomach is taken, so they have to feed through the tubes. So every few days or every day they put a pump something. It's so.
The parrot starts his process. Stop, then you cannot go.
Yeah, so this is the nature we are in. When a diseased person is forbidden to eat, this does not mean that there is scarcity of food. Rather, the diseased person requires the treatment of not being supplied with food. So Prabhupada wants us to understand, actually it's the Lord who is taking care of all of us, and we need to really, really appreciate that, right? To really, truly, every day you cook or something, you look at the grains, you should know it's coming from Krishna. The realization, when it manifests nicely, when you look and you see Krishna in every grain, you understand this is Krishna's giving. I'm surviving because of Krishna. Then you become more closer to Krishna. Text 22. Rithodha putro nayati naradeva yamakshaya Tvam chasya data garbhasya satyam maha shakuntala. O King Dusmanta, he who discharges semen is the actual father, and his son saves him from the custody of Yamaraja. You are the actual procreator of this child. Indeed, Shakuntala is speaking the truth. So Prabhupada quotes this Vedic Smriti, Punnam no narakat yasmat pitaram trayate sutaha tasmat putra iti proktaha swayameva swayambhuva. Because a son delivers his father from punishment in the hell called Put, the son is called Putra. I mentioned this yesterday or day before, right? Yeah. According to this principle, when there is a disagreement between the father and mother, it is the father, not the mother, who is delivered by the son. But if the wife is faithful and firmly adherent to her husband, when the father is delivered, the mother is also delivered. So this is concerning this Putra son, not Mutra son, right? Remember? Ravana is called Mutra, like that. Again, Prabhupada wants to emphasize this. Consequently, there's no such thing as divorce in the Vedic literature. So Srila Prabhupada, when he was approached by people who are not happy with their marriage and they want to divorce, Prabhupada will never say yes. And if they keep asking, he'll say, go do whatever you want. But I'm not pleased with you. Yeah. The son saves his father from the custody of Yamaraj. He never says, Putro Nayati Mataram. The son saves his mother. So basically, this is the Vedic understanding. You raise the child to be a Vaishnava so he can save both the father and mother from the custody of Yamaraj and punishment in hellish life. Of course, if you do your best and after all still they don't become a Vaishnava, what can be done, right? What can be done? You just have to go to Ganga and take bath here. Text 23. Pitari uparate sopi Chakravarti mahayashaha Mahima giyate tasya Hare hangsha bhuvo bhuvi. Shukadev Goswami said, when Maharaj Dusmanta passed away from this earth, his son became the emperor of the world, the proprietor of the 7 islands. He is referred to as a partial representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in this world. And he must be a very extraordinary person.
Name is not.
Very powerful, huh?
Bharata.
Bharata, yeah, Bharata. Yes, King Bharata. That's why the planet is known after him. Thereafter it was also known different Bharata. Text 24 and to 26. Chakram dakshina hastesya
Chakram dakshina hastesya
padmakosho asya padayoho ije mahavishekena
ye mahabhishekena
so bishikto dirat vibhu
vijito virat
pancha pancha sata medyer gangayam anuvajibihi Mameteyam purodaya Yamuna Manucha Prabhu Asta Saptati Medyashvan Babanda Pradadat Vasu Bharatasya hi dosmantir Agnisachi Gune Chitaha Sahasram Badvaso Yasmin Brahmanaga Vibejire Maharaja Bharata, the son of Dusmanta, had the mark of Lord Krishna's disc on the palm of his right hand, and he had the mark of a lotus wall on the soles of his feet. By worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead with a grand ritualistic ceremony, he became the emperor and master of the entire world. Then, under the priesthood of Mamateya, Bhrigu Muni, he performed 55 horse sacrifices on the bank of the Ganges, beginning from its mouth and ending at its source, Gangotri, and 78 horse sacrifices on the bank of Yamuna, beginning from the confluence of Prayaga and ending at the source. He established a sacrificial fire on an excellent site, and he distributed great wealth to the Brahmanas. Indeed, he distributed so many cows that each of thousands of Brahmanas had one Vadva, 13,084 as his share. A lot of cows. A lot of cows. Looks like, at least 130 million cows. Yeah, his son is Bharata. Dusmanta's son is Bharata. And you can see here, he performs many, many rituals just for the benefit of the entire world. Okay. And Prabhupada says work must be done as a sacrifice of Vishnu. Otherwise, you will be bound to this material world. Yeah. Everyone should engage in the performance of yagna, and the sacrificial fire should be ignited everywhere. Nowadays, you don't find, it's always barbecue pits everywhere, right? The entire purpose being to make people happy, prosperous, and progressive in spiritual life. What to do? All right, so then he quotes this verse from the Purana where it forbids the 5 acts that are forbidden in Kali. This was previously also Prabhupada quoted. So again, Asvamedam Gavalambam Sanyasam Palapaitrikam Devarena Sutotpattim Kalopancha Vivajayet. In this age of Kali, 5 acts are forbidden. Offering a horse in sacrifice, offering a cow in sacrifice, accepting the order of sannyas, offering oblations of flesh to the forefathers, and begetting children in the wife of one's brother. Okay, so such yagnas, all these are impossible. There's no more qualified brahmanas. Nobody have enough wealth. Therefore, you don't do it in Kali Yuga. Kalau pancha vivajaya. It's not allowed in Kali Yuga anymore. The only thing that is acceptable is the order of sannyas, but there is also for those who are taking seriously to preach. Otherwise, you shouldn't take also. And Prabhupada talks about the yagna for this age also, and the yagna for this age is Harinam Sankita. So he quotes this famous verse, Krishna Varnam Thisa Krishna Sango Pangasa Parshadam Yagne Sankirtana Praye Yajantihi Sumedasa. In this age of Kali, people endowed with sufficient intelligence will worship the Lord, who is accompanied by his associates by performance of Sankirtan Yagna. how much yagna we do, right? Every day we should. If you have time, what does Prabhupada say? When you have time, chant, chant. So that's the idea, no? Whenever you have nothing better to do, it's better to do some yagna. It's good for all of us, yeah. Or do some get together, chant together, have kirtan, have some prasadam. That's all. No need to talk so much also. 10 minutes, glorify the holy name, and then continue chanting. If you have nice kirtan, everyone will appreciate it also. And when kirtan is performed nicely in this age, then towards the end, Prabhupada say you will have sufficient rain, and which means you will have sufficient grains, and therefore everyone will be satisfied. Of course, because of the age of Kali, people are terribly breaking the principles of Vedic culture. And Prabhupada wants to establish Vedic culture, so therefore we should be very careful and follow the four regulative principles. Then when we chant, it has more potency. Okay. Text 27. Trastrim shat chatam hi asvan Bhatva Vishmapayan Nirpan Dausmantir Atyagan Mayam Devanam Guru Mayayau Bharata, the son of Maharaj Dusmanta, bound 3,300 horses for those sacrifices, and thus he astonished all other kings. He surpassed even the opulence of the demigods, for he achieved the supreme spiritual master Hari. But when you have Krishna, you have everything. Text 28. Mirgan Chukladata Krishna Hiranyena Parivritan Adat Karmani Masnare Niyutani Chaturdasha. When Maharaj Bharata performed the sacrifice known as Masnara, or a sacrifice in the place known as Mashnara, he gave in charity 14 lakhs of excellent elephants with white tusks and black bodies, completely covered with golden ornaments. Basically, it's to show his opulence, how powerful, how auspicious, how glorious this king is. Text 29. Bharatasya Mahat Karma Na Purve Na Pare Nirpaha Naiva Purnaiva Prapsyanti Bahubhyam Tridivam Yata. As one cannot approach a heavenly planet simply by the strength of his arms, for who can touch the heavenly planets with his hands? One cannot imitate the wonderful activities of Maharaja Bharata. No one could perform such activities in the past, nor will anyone be able to do so in the future. So it's very glorious. He is an expansion, or he's been blessed, like a Shakti of the Lord. Text 30. Kirata hunan yavanan Pondran kankan kasan chakan Abramanya nirpam chahan Mlechan digvijaye kilan. Similar verse in the first canto also, no? But they also can go back to God. When Maharaj Bharata was on tour, he defeated or killed all the Kiratas, Hunans, Yavanas, Pondras, Kankas, Kashas, Shakas, and the kings who were opposed to the Vedic principles of Brahminical culture. That's what the Kshatriya kings would do. If they find all these people hanging around, they'll kill them because they are causing problems for the cultured people. Yeah.
Andhras are hunters.
Yes.
They could not defeat Andhras.
No, in the other verse, it is they also
They will be following.
text Text 31. Jitva pura sura devan. Ye raso kamsi bejire. Devastriyo rasam nitaha. Pranibi punar aharat. Formerly, after conquering the demigods, all the demons had taken shelter in the lower planetary system, known as Rasatala, and had brought all the wives and daughters of the demigods there also. Maharaja Bharata, however, rescued all those women, along with their associates, from the clutches of the demons, and he returned them to the demigods. Very powerful. Text 32. Sarvan kama duduhatu. Prajanam tasya rodasi. Samastri nava sahasri. Dikshu chakram avartaya. Maharaj Bharata provided all necessities for his subjects, both on this earth and in the heavenly planets, for 27,000 years. He circulated his orders and distributed his soldiers in all directions. Text 33.
But then
Yes.
in the previous verse, it says that he returned those wives and daughters to the demigod. Now, for the demigods or heavenly planet, that rule does not apply. If the other Kshatriyas or demons have kidnapped them, they cannot accept it.
Except what?
The wives again.
Wives, like once they are kidnapped, then other people will not.
Oh, I don't think so. It doesn't appear that way. Yeah. I think it's only in this plane. Yeah. Okay. Text 33. Sa samrat lokapalakyam Aisvaryam adirat sriyam Chakram chaskalitam pranan Mriseti upararamaha. As the ruler of the entire universe, Emperor Bharata had the opulences of a great kingdom and unconquerable soldiers. His sons and family had seemed to him to be his entire life. But finally, he thought of all these as an impediment to spiritual advancement, and therefore he ceased from enjoying it. So he must be very advanced because he has so much opulence. He could easily give it up and retire after a certain age. So Prabhupada says we all should follow in his footsteps, right? In a sense, Vanaprastha. Text 34. Tasyasan nirpa vaidarbhyaha patnyastishrat susambataha jaknustyaga bhayat putran nanurupa iti rite. O King Parikshit, Maharaj Bharata had three pleasing wives who were daughters of the king of Vidarbha. When all three of them bore children who did not resemble the king, these wives thought that he would consider them unfaithful queens and reject them, and therefore they killed their own sons. Infanticide. It's amazing though. Wow. Anyway, text 35. Tasyaivam vitate vamshe tadartam yajata sutam marutstomena maruto bharadvajam upadado. The king, his attempt for progeny frustrated in this way, performed a sacrifice named Marutstoma to get a son. The demigods known as the Maruts, being fully satisfied with him, then presented him a son named Bharadvaja. That's interesting. Huh?
Is it Bharadwaj?
Bharad, possible. I can't remember. Yeah. Text 36. Antarvadnyam Bhratripatnyam Maitunaya Brihaspatihi Pravrito Varito Garbham Sattva Vidyam Upasvija. When the demigod named Brihaspati was attracted by his brother's wife Mamata, who at that time was pregnant, he desired to have sexual relations with her. The son within her womb forbade this, but Brihasta cursed him and forcibly discharged semen into the womb of Mamata. So again, Prabhupada's point is if you have lust and you can't control, you do terrible things. Huh? So it's very important from a very young age, we all should be trained to control our senses. Otherwise, chaos takes place. Text 37. Tam tyaktu kamam mamatam Bhartustyaga vishankitam Nama nirvachanam tasya Slokaminam surajaguhu. Mamata very much feared being forsaken by her husband for giving birth to an illegitimate son, and therefore she considered giving up the child. But then the demigods solved the problem by enunciating a name for the child. Okay, according to Shastra, when a child is born, there are some ceremonies like Jata Karma and Nama Karana. They do that. In some devotees do that, right? Even now they do that, right? So, but Mamata was afraid because the child was, she was raped basically by Brihaspati. So she was not happy with the Brihaspati made her pregnant by force, so it's rape. Therefore, Brihaspati became Bharta. According to Vedic culture, a wife is considered the property of a husband, and a son born by illicit sex is called Dwaja. The common word still current in Hindu society for such a son is Dogla, which refers to a son not begotten by the husband of his mother. In such a situation, it is difficult to give the child a name according to proper regulatory principles. Mamata, therefore, was perplexed, but the demigods gave the child the appropriate name Bharadwaja, which indicated that the child born illegitimately should be maintained by both Mamata and Brihaspati. Text 38. Mudhe Bharadwajamimam Bharadwajam Brihaspate Yatau Yat Uktva Pitarau Bharadwajas Tatastuyam. Brihaspati said to Mamata, "You foolish woman, although this child was born from the wife of one man through the semen discharged by another, you should maintain him." Upon hearing this, Mamata replied, "Oh Brihaspati, you maintain him." After speaking in this way, Brihaspati and Mamata both left. Thus the child was known as Bharadwaja. So both of them didn't take care of the child. Very irresponsible, right? When you say they should be fined, taken to the common courts.
What is the husband of?
He's not in the picture, right? Text 39. Yeah. Why are you getting confused? Mamata was raped by Brihaspati.
But Mamta is already pregnant at that time.
Yeah, and so he killed the child like that.
So Mamta was, maybe King Bharat has a brother, that wife is Mamta. And then she got raped and she had a child. Bharadwaj, and that Bharadwaj was the son called for the Bharat,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And then they are saying that Bharadwaj was raised by Mamta.
No,
No.
Raised.
they left.
They were supposed to raise them.
But they-
And ironically, the mother's name is Mamta.
Somewhere I read that
And that son was given
was
to
raised by
Yeah.
two people.
They didn't raise the child, they left. We're just reading it.
Okay, so then Bharat raised Bharadwaj.
Yes.
So that means Bharadwaj was his brother's.
Don't worry about
wife.
it.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's his son now. The lineage it goes through this child, Bharadwaja. Otherwise, you'll just get worried about all this. It's like one of the soap operas, right?
Brother, how is Bharata's not brother, right?
No.
His
It's
son.
like American adopting an African child, right?
Adopting a child,
Yeah, they're from another country.
That doesn't matter which country. It can be the same country also.
No, but like, this is from demigod planet he comes from.
Okay, in that sense, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the demigods gave him the son Bharadwaja because the child is abandoned. You understand? The child is now abandoned. So now what's going to happen? That's what the demigods will take the child, and Maharaj Bharata, who has no child, so they gave this child to Bharat, and then Bharadwaja grows up as the son of Bharata, King Bharata. Okay. Chodhyamana surar evam matva vitatam atmajam vyasrijan maruto bibran dattoyam vitate anvaye. Although encouraged by the demigods to maintain the child, Mamata considered him useless because of his illicit birth, and therefore she left him. Consequently, the demigods known as the Maruts maintained the child, and when Maharaj Bharata was disappointed for want of a child, this child was given to him as his son. Right? He's like a hot potato. Everyone is throwing. And if he grows up, let's say he grows up in America, he'll get a mental disease. But unfortunately, he didn't. He'll probably end up shooting few people. From this verse, it is understood that those who are rejected from the higher planetary system are given a chance to take birth in the most exalted families on this planet Earth. Prabhupada so nicely says that, he doesn't say they are reject or anything. So nice. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purpose of the 9th canto, 20th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Dynasty of Puru.
But this is insanity, right? I mean.
It is.
The way the mothers, they kill their own sons because they don't resemble the dad. How do they know? Right? Whether the child is.
It is, but then, nowadays it doesn't matter. Yeah, but in those days, there must be, the Lakshana must show.
What if the kid is taken after the mom, right?
Yeah, but they will know, right? It takes after mom or dad. Most kids, you can see the resemblance. Yeah, either the front or the side view, they will resemble the parents somewhere. Yeah, most kids. Yeah, even nowadays people will say, right? I've heard so many cases where the husband or the wife accuse and say, this is not your child, you don't look like me, or something like that. DNA testing. Right? And then you have to go to one of those TV shows to prove your birth. Right? They have programs like that. That's what I've heard. Okay. We can start with text 20, chapter 21, the dynasty of Bharata, a little bit, and then we can stop. Text 1. Shri Sukha Vacha Vidatasya Sutan Manyor Brihat Shatro Jayastataha Mahaviryo Naro Gargaha Sankritis-tu Naratmajaha. Sukadeva Goswami said, because Bharadwaja was delivered by the Marut demigods, he was known as Vitata. The son of Vitata was Manyu, and from Manyu came 5 sons: Brihat Kshatra, Jaya, Mahavirya, Nara, and Garga. Of these five, the one known as Nara had a son named Shankriti. Text 2. Guruscharanti devascha Sankrite Pandunandana Ranti devasya mahima Ihamutra chagiyate. O Maharaja Parikshit, descendant of Pandu, Sankrita had two sons named Guru and Ranti Deva. Ranti Deva is famous in both this world and the next, for he is glorified not only in human society but also in the society of demigods. Text 3 and 5. Yeah, yeah, I know.
Service.
Service, yeah, temple service.
Yeah, I doesn't want to hear.
He doesn't want to hear.
Yeah.
Very humble.
Text 3 and 5. Via vittasya datato labdam bubukshataha niskinchanasya dhirasya sakutumbasya sidataha vyatiyo asta chatvarimshad ahani apibata kila grita payasa samyavam toyam raturupasitam Krishra prapta kutumbasya Shutritbyam jata vepatoho Atiti brahmana kale Bhoktu kamasya chagama. Rantideva never endeavored to earn anything. He would enjoy whatever he got by the arrangement of providence. But when guests came, he would give them everything. Thus he underwent considerable suffering along with the members of his family. Indeed, he and his family members shivered for want of food and water. Yet Rantideva always remained sober. Once, after fasting for 48 days, in the morning, Rantideva received some water and some foodstuffs made with milk and ghee. But when he and his family were about to eat, a Brahmana guest arrived. So this is a test for Rantideva.
Another two person.
Yeah. No. Text 6. Tasmai samvyabhajat sonnam adritya shraddhayanvitaha harim sarvatra sampasyan sabhuktva prayayau dvija. Because Rantideva perceived the presence of the Supreme Godhead everywhere and in every living entity, he received the guest with faith and respect and gave him a share of the food. The Brahmana guest ate his share and then went away. So that's the Atiti principle, When someone comes uncalled for, you consider them, the Lord himself is coming in different ways. Yeah. And Rantidev is also very advanced because he's seeing the Lord everywhere in every living entity. So Prabhupada therefore quotes this verse, Vidyavanaya Sampani Brahmani Gavi Hastini Sunichaiva Swabhakacha Pandita Samadarshana. So he has equal vision. He doesn't discriminate between one or the other. He sees everyone equally. They are all living entities and therefore he treats them equally. So when they came to his home, he's thinking the Lord has come or the Lord has sent these people and I have to take care of them because these living entities are guests of the Lord. He's not thinking they are his guests. He's thinking that they are Lord's guests. So therefore, he is by nature very kind and sees everyone as a servant that he wants to serve them. Right? So Rantideva had no reason to give preference to any one person. The idea that because Narayana is present in the heart of one who is Daridra or poor, the poor man should be called Daridra Narayana is a wrong conception. Okay, by such logic, because the Lord is present within the hearts of the dogs and hawks, the dogs and hawks would also be Narayana. One should not mistakenly think that Rantidev subscribed to this view. Hey, he's not thinking like that, right? There are people who say like that. Rather, he saw everyone as part of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hari Sambandhi Vastunaha. It is not that everyone is Supreme Godhead. Such a theory, which is propounded by the Mayavada philosophy, is always misleading, and Rantidev would never have accepted it. Okay? So we are not God. We are servants of God. We are part and parcel of God. Mamayangsa Jiva Loka, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. So we are part and parcel. We are not God. So that must be clearly understood. Otherwise, then we will think I'm God, you're God, and we merge and become God. Meaningless. We are eternally separated. Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Eternally, we are individuals. Right? Na tu evaham jatu nasam, na tu nemi janadipana chayvana bisham sarvayam ataha param. Never was there time, did I exist, not this, nor all these kings here. He's telling Arjuna in the battlefield, Krishna, that everyone is eternally existing. So we should have that clear in our mind so we don't get confused, just like Rantidev. Text 7. Atanyo bhaksyamanasya vibhaktasya mahipate vibhaktam vyavajat tasmai vishalaya harim smaran. Thereafter, having divided the remaining food with his relatives, Rantideva was just about to eat his own share when a Shudra guest arrived. Seeing the Shudra in relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, King Rantideva gave him also a share of the food. So again, same thing, another guest. Oh, I better serve him. So he didn't have much. He already gave to the first guest. Now whatever he had, he divided it further and gave it to the Shudra who came. Yeah. Text 8. Yate Shudretam Anyogad Atiti Swabhiravritaha Rajan Mendiyatam Annam Saganaya Bhuvukshate. When the Shudra went away, another guest arrived, surrounded by dogs, and said, "O king, I and my company of dogs are very hungry. Please give us something to eat." It appears also that the access to the king is very easy. It appears that way. We do not know. Text 9. Sa adritya vasishtam yad bahumana puraskritam tacha datva namaschakre swabhya swapataye vibhu. With great respect, King Rantideva offered the balance of the food to the dogs and the master of the dogs who had come as guests. The king offered them all respects and obeisances. Text 10. Paniya matram uchesam tachaika paritarpanam pasyata pulkasho vyagad apodehi asubhaya me. Thereafter, only the drinking water remained, and there was only enough to satisfy one person. But when the king was just about to drink it, a Chandala appeared and said, "O king, although I am low-born, kindly give me some drinking water." Text 11. Tasyatam karunam vacham nisamya vipulashramam kripaya brisha santapta idam mahamritam vachaha. Aggrieved at hearing the pitiable words of the poor fatigued Chandala, Maharaj Rantidev spoke the following nectarian words. Maharaj Rantidev's words were like Amrita or nectar, and therefore, aside from rendering bodily service to an aggrieved person, by his words alone, the king could save the life of anyone who might hear him. Very powerful. Thank-
Time to speak.
At the time to speak. Next 12. Na kamayeham gatim ishvarat param astardi yuktam apunarbhavam va artim prabhadye kila deha bhajam antastito yena bhavanti adukkaha. I do not pray to the Supreme Personality of Godhead for the 8 perfections of mystic yoga, nor for salvation from repeated birth and death. I want only to stay among all the living entities and suffer all distresses on their behalf, so that they may be freed from suffering. So now you know he's not ordinary. He's very advanced, very liberated. Similarly, Prahlad Maharaj is on that level, and Vasudev Datta and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also said the same thing. Yeah. He was saying in the whole world, everyone is unqualified. He said, let me take their sin, and so that they can go back to Godhead. And Lord Chaitanya fulfilled his desire. And then it says in Chaitanya Charitamrita, as soon as they went back to Godhead, a new set of jivas came and took birth. All of us. So therefore, Prabhupada says a devotee is very kind to other people. So paradukha dukhi. Yeah. Always thinking of the welfare of others. Text 13. Shutrit Shamogatra Paribrahmascha Dainyam Klamashoka Vishada Moha Sarve Nivritta Kripanasya Janto Jiji Visho Jiva Jalarpanan Me. By offering my water to maintain the life of this poor Chandala who is struggling to live, I have been freed from all hunger, thirst, fatigue, trembling of the body, moroseness, distress, lamentation, and illusion. This is actually at a high stage of a pure devotee. They don't feel any of this thing. They are in ecstasy.
Hearing for 7 days.
Yes, Maharaj Parikshit for 7. But this personality is how many days? 28 days?
48.
48 days, yeah. So long. We will all have been dead by now. Yeah, if we don't drink after 10 days or 12 days, the kidneys will shut down and so on. If you don't eat and drink. By some people can last for a month, but generally it shuts down, your eyes will go blind, and then you can hear. That's the last faculty which goes. Yeah. Shabda. All right, we'll chant this 14 and then we'll take a break. Iti prabhasya paniyam Vriyamana pipasaya Pulkashaya dadadiro Nisarga karuno nirpaha. Having spoken thus, King Rantideva, although on the verge of death because of thirst, gave his own portion of water to the Chandala without hesitation, for the king was naturally very kind and sober. Very amazing personality, this king.
How is he a king when he doesn't even have food and water?
How is he?
A king.
How is he a king?
He's poor, right?
Yeah, he's always giving away from the beginning. His mood, yeah, his mood is to help every living entity. So whatever he had, he gives away. Yeah. So you'll see this whole thing that goes through is actually he's been tested by the demigods also. To act, in a sense, the Lord wants to glorify his devotees, that they are pakka and very good, right? Yeah. Any other reflections? He's happy. His reflection is time to go. So all these are for us to understand this very important in our journey to Godhead. We should understand, there's so many things that will influence our life. Um, Rather, by reading this pastime, we should get attracted to Krishna. Although these pastimes may bring up things that we don't expect to read in the Bhagavatam, but it's there. Why? Because then it allows us to understand that these are things we should stay away from. Durena Avarana.
Bharat story like that,
Those stories about lusty and all those things we should not get attractive, like Bharadwaja, the mother's killing and all those things, Mamata refusing to raise child. These are things going on nowadays, very common. So when we see the wonderful way the Lord is reciprocating, then you can get absorbed on those things. He really is caring about us, although the pastimes may seem in a different way. And then you can see how Krishna deals with different devotees, right? Therefore, they have some kind of a rasa going on. The Lord is therefore wanting us to fight against this material energy that is holding us. And also we see how the Lord sometimes, or the like King Bharata goes killing unqualified people and so on. So we can understand how by doing that he's purifying those people also. And then we have different instructions that is good for us, how to practice and so.
Krishna is so tolerant.
Yeah, he is. We can say this person is tolerant, they are tolerant, but ultimately Krishna is tolerant. He's waiting forever.
So, Vansudeva, in the 12th verse, so the prayer is, I don't want salvation, I don't want great mystic perfections, but I want to stay among all the living entities. So even though he is a poor person, I mean, he is acting like a poor person, still he has that fatherly affection for all the people.
Yeah, he wants to dedicate to free others from suffering. That's a Vaishnava. That's why Prabhupada writes Paradukkha Dukhi in the purport. They are worrying about other people's suffering. They are not worried about their own suffering.
Prahlad Maharaj also prays something similar.
Yes, same thing. Yeah. But then he compares to Vasudeva Datta in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Prabhupada compares, who also said the same thing to Mahaprabhu. I want to take all the sins of everyone so that they can go back to Godhead. I mean, we can't do that. We can't pray like that. We are not at that level. Huh? Even Ganga Devi don't want those things. Yeah. So what to speak? So you have to understand these people are very, very exalted and they can pray like that. Right? If you are breaking fast and Ekadasi and you have a little bit and you want to eat someone else, you'll share one person. But if you go India, you go India, sometimes they'll take everything from your hand, the people, right? Have you experienced that? Yeah, you go to like Varshana and all those places, not the prasad, they want the rupees, you take out and it zoom, all gone. But it's the same, these things go and how you feel, Yeah. So he didn't even drink, he was so happy to say, he joyfully prayed, no? His life should be dedicated. Right?
Too exalted.
Yeah. Too exalted. Yeah, he wants us to end so he can go. Right, Niman? Yeah. So anyway, it's an opportunity for us to look at our own progress in our spiritual life in comparison to all these people. what opportunities they had and what opportunities are now granted for us and how we are taking it, right? And then when we think deeply, then we at least we can make some changes in our life. But if you don't think about it, then you won't do anything. Right? Then we cannot become like Aranti Dev or Vasudev Datta or King Bharat, like that. Or even Yayati. Yayati is the closest for all of us. And Devayani. All right, I think we'll stop here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you.
Tomorrow is program at from 10 to
We'll
yeah, 10 to we don't know the ending time, but at Bajja ki Papa was home. So please RSVP so they can
cook.
cook wonderful prasad.
Take care. Goodbye.
Can I make something?
I think she already planned.
She was supposed to let
Just right over here.
holding up.
Oh yeah.
What, okay?
What is your address?
19705.
How are you? My daughter is here.
21st. So it is 20 now.
I'll take it. Put it the web WhatsApp.
Monday, right? Monday, right?
Very, yeah.
Sunday, right?
Yeah, I'll be here. But some things to do. Then
I sent you link.
Physically present mentally.
okay. Yeah, I got the screen. Very
Oh, no, no. I got to ask.